This is Claire Pearson in Beijing from Charitarian magazine, speaking to Wang Liwei, who is the CEO and editor of Charitarian magazine and honorary vice mayor in Guanxian. Hi Mr. Wang, how are you today?
Good, good.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the Japanese earthquake and the contribution of the Chinese government to the recovery program? Do you think that China should be contributing to relief efforts of the people in Japan?
Yeah, definitely. I think before the disaster, we are all human beings. We are the same. And don't forget, in the Sichuan earthquake in 2008, Japanese also sent a relief group to help Chinese. Now we have to help them. Even there is a slight argument in the internet. Some Wagner, some netizens, say that we should not support Japan, we should not help Japanese, but majority of Chinese agree that we should help Japanese this time. And don't forget, now the situation is getting worse and China is also get affected, it's influenced. So for the disaster, it will hit one place and also will influence your neighbors. We are in the same situation actually.
I see. So you see that you think that these sort of common disasters could be a sort of opportunity to forget old animosities. So how do you think China should be helping Japan? Do you think they should be offering practical support, sending dogs or money? What's the best way in which people can help the Japanese people recover?
I think to give them more supply, like the food, maybe the water and meat or something, the real things. Because I saw that in Japan, in the supermarket, a lot of things were bought. The supermarket are empty because people are afraid they have no supply in the next few weeks. So that is good for Chinese company to export more to Japan. That will increase the GDP maybe by this export business. Also, the Chinese government should give more food or some the daily products to Japan, the Japanese government. And it's very interesting that from yesterday also China, the people agreed to buy the salt. And you cannot find salt in Beijing in some shops. And also one bag of salt in Beijing, the former price is 1.5 and now it's 5.
Wow.
3 times or 4 times.
So there's quite a lot of panic buying with people anticipating radioactive fallout in China?
Yeah, number one, maybe there is a mistrust. Chinese people, maybe they mistrust by the information which is given by the media or government. So they are a little bit worried about the true situation. And the second is maybe some salt public company, they push this, they push the price up, and they will make a lot of money.
So it's a cynical sales strategy.
Yeah.
So will the Chinese government, will it be giving any sort of educative warnings to the people in China? Do you anticipate that they'll be advising the general population on what they should do if the radiation cloud spreads to Beijing, for example, or Shanghai more likely?
I don't think the government will give some real advice, because that it will be the worst situation. That means radiation will reach China, which the government doesn't like to see, or doesn't want. If now the media say that, okay, you people should do like this, like that, that means it is coming. So still now, what we receive, the information we receive now is we are okay. The radiation will not reach China. That will be the last time for Chinese government to give advice on how we prepare ourselves before the radiation. That will be the last.
Actually, I noticed that the government haven't been too quick to give public announcements on the subject, so companies are often left to advise their employees how best they can, whether to stay or leave Tokyo, what to do in China, etc. How would you advise companies to prepare for natural disasters that seem to be of increasing incidence in Asia and specifically China? How should they react?
I think for the companies should advise their employee once a while. That means keep informing them once every 3 months or once half a year. That means I think the disaster is not terrible, but if we ignorance of the disaster, that will be terrible. People doesn't know how to act before the disaster. First, let the people realize there will be some disaster, in future. People have to get ready in mind. So second, we can invite some professional people to teach the employee, like the earthquake prevention professional people, experts, to teach the employee how we act when earthquake comes, how we act when the flood comes. We need experts to tell us what the company do to the employees, to let the employee keep in mind this idea that we will have some problem in future.
Yeah, I've noticed the employees in our firm, they've been very compassionate in their reaction. The Chinese employees in our company brought money to me to pass to the employees in the Tokyo office without me asking for it, because they felt very sympathetic, because they understood the repercussions of an earthquake subsequent to going through the Sichuan disaster. So I think there is deep empathy between the Chinese people and Japanese people at this time. I think it's easy to focus on the animosity, but in reality, in my daily job as a CSR manager, I've seen a different story. People are even bringing in items for a care package on Wednesday for an office CSR meeting, things like earplugs and the things that people are running short of in Japan. And certainly when I speak to people in the Tokyo office, they sound quite stressed. And obviously they've been through a shaking building. And I think Japan's having to reassess its future, not just how it will provide its energy, but what is going to be the long-term economic damage to the country.
I think China the same.
China the same.
To rethink the use of the nuclear power. Because China, in the past, as far as I know, the local government wants to build the plant, the nuclear plant, because it has a lot of money there.
Sure.
It can attract a lot of money.
Sure.
But I think for the normal people, they don't like that.
They don't like nuclear power.
I remember one case in Xiamen.
Yeah.
There used to be sometimes chemical or nuclear plant there, but just because the local people disagreement, so finally they refused and stopped that project.
Okay.
So I think this Japanese earthquake, also China will learn a lot from that. For the economic reason, how to develop the economy, the model, what is the attitude to the chemical factory or the nuclear plant. So the government will rethink the plans, because now the people realize how dangerous these are.
Yeah. Everyone's aware this week of the potential dangers of nuclear, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But do you think the government are just as educated about the potential dangers of CO2 emissions from coal-fired power stations? resulting acid rain, the global warming. I know that it's easy to react against nuclear. My personal opinion is sympathetic to the people who didn't want it in their town. But also emissions from coal-fired power stations are, heating the planet. Do you think people in China are aware of that?
But in our understanding that the nuclear plants is more dangerous than the coal mining factory.
Because the radiation's more insidious because you can't see it.
Yeah, that's right. But when you cannot see the thing, that's more terrible.
You're right, it's scarier to think that, oh dear, I'm slowly getting cancer,
that's
rather
right.
than there's a big black cloud of smoke from the coal-fired station.
Yeah, that's true. Also, on the way here, in my car, the radio has a program I listened. So some people talk about electricity. They say, okay, we use the nuclear power plant to have the electricity. But if we go back all the time, we don't have enough electricity. Maybe you don't have the light every night in the evening. But when you don't have the light, the family people, they can gather together, or you can go outside for a walk because you cannot stay inside.
Did this happen when you were younger?
Yes, that's right. And people can sing outside the room, can talk outside the room. But today we have enough electricity. Then suddenly we go back home and then switch on the computer, talk through the QQ, and then play the game, online game, or watch television. No chance to go outside, no chance to talk with our neighbors, with our friends, because we cannot live without our computer, BlackBerry, and there is argument in China now. If we have enough benefit from the modern technology.
A sort of a cost-benefit analysis to say if there are these dangers from generating